Good morning everybody, welcome back to Trashcraft Tuesday. It's Belinda from Visualized NZ here. So, trash today that I'm working with is this tea box. So I've already kind of flattened it out and trimmed some off, and I think I actually have already used this box for something else. So I'm just going to keep trimming it down. Not long after I finished yesterday's video, hubby arrived home from work sick again. So he's home again today. So my schedule is completely not back to normal yet. And that's okay. We can deal with that. Right. I was getting ready to do this video and I noticed these lovely big flaps on this box, which are like the ones I did the little saloon doors with, but bigger. So I thought, well, I'm going to trim those off and save those, because they would fit over a regular sized photo, I think, or a bigger photo anyway, or if there's a big picture you wanted to hide, or a journaling spot that's a bit bigger. So they'd need to be that way round, or maybe not, because there's another two on the other side. So just a little side note before we get into what I have planned. So not a terribly complicated project in mind today, something that's probably not very new, but still worthwhile. Okay, so no, we don't need to have them around the other way. And these have got a green edge, which is kind of fun. So I thought, you know, that gives you quite a good space to put a photo or something in behind. Yeah, so I'm going to save those for using as little saloon doors for my journal. If you're not sure what I'm referring to, then pop a few, don't know how many weeks back, 2 or 3 weeks back, and you'll see the video on how to make little saloon doors that open and shut. Okay, so what I want is just the flat bits of card from this, so I'm just going to completely break it down so that we've got base material to work with. And I've chosen a box that's not too thick, but still nice and sturdy. So I don't want super thick cardstock for this project, but I don't want it too flimsy either. I had some card from a pastry pack, but it's quite a lot flimsier than this, so I've chosen this box to work with because it's thinnish. Yeah, it's a good weight for what I have in mind. Right, so we've just got our ordinary bits of card left here now, shiny on one side. Now my preference is for it not to be too glossy, because when we go to use what I'm making, don't want it sliding around. So yeah, I think we'll be okay though if we put the plain card side down when they go to get used. Okay, so what we're going to do today out of our trash is we're going to make some templates / stencils, that type of thing. Now you've probably thought of this before and I've done it before, but I thought I'm just really in the need for some stencils for art journaling and that sort of thing. So I'm going to start off with diamonds. So I'm going to start with 2 inches, drawing a line at 2 inches and making a line, little mark in the middle at 1 inch. And then I'm coming across here and I'm going to put my 1 inch mark right on that line at that mark, and then I'm going to go, let's go 3/4 of an inch out and draw a line. And the beauty of making these is you can make whatever you like. You can make different sizes of the same. Well, that was a bit weird. My camera just stopped recording, so I had to rewatch what I'd recorded to see where I got up to before it cut out. So I was talking about making these stencils and making them different sizes and things, whatever you need. You can also do patterns. So you could do lots of, repeating shapes or something. You could do freeform ones too. Freeform ones are a lot of fun to create, so maybe we might do one of those as well. So I am just now connecting the dots, so to speak, connecting the ends of my lines. So I've got it 1.5 inches across and 2 inches tall to make a very subtle diamond shape. To make a more pointed diamond shape, then make your crossbar a little bit shorter. And that's the beauty of making your own, is you can alter them, and if you don't like this shape, do another one, and do different ones for different purposes, or to mix and match. So when you use them in a project, you can use one or several depending what you need. So I'm just taking my craft knife and trimming out very carefully. Now ideally I should have done this round the other way so that I had more card stock at the bottom and top. So when I use this, I'm going to have to be careful that I don't go over. Now hopefully I will show you how you can use these, some ideas on how you can use them. And once you've got them, they'll last a good while until they get a bit too unusable, I guess, too floppy or damaged or covered in paint or whatever, or if you accidentally cut too far with your craft knife, just do another one. So you've also got these little pieces that you cut out. Now they can be useful too. You can paint those up and use them like chipboard on a project. So if you paint that up with some acrylic paint or something, or colour it in with Sharpies, and then put it on whatever project you're doing. So don't discard those shapes, also very usable. Right, so now I'm going to make a different one. So this time I'm going to do 1.5 inch high. And make a mark at 3/4 of an inch, which is your halfway point. Right, and I'm going to put my 1/2 inch mark on that line and do 1/2 inch on either side, and then connect those lines. So diamonds are really super easy to do, and they're a fun little element to use, a shape to use in your projects. So these can be used in whatever you like. Mixed media projects, you can use them on your journaling spread to create patterns. You can use them in journals that you're making to decorate. If you haven't got stencils or a particular pattern stencil that you might want, then you can stencil your pages in the journals that you're making. You can use them to stencil on journaling cards or anything, like literally anything. And you can use a variety of mediums with them as well. So you can use paint and ink and things I probably haven't thought of. So just like you would use a normal stencil that you'd purchase that are made of plastic. Now those are super thin, and for some things those super thin ones are definitely preferable, and also because you can see through them, whereas these, because it's the solid cardstock around it, you don't have that visibility around it, but that doesn't mean they're any less useful. Okay, so there, and yeah, these can be bent as well, and because I've done them quite close to the edge, they're a bit bendy, but they're still perfectly usable. So hopefully you can see those two different ones. Now one of the simplest ways you can do is by taking a paper punch. Now because it's cardstock, not all punches are going to like punching through it. So I'm just going to try my 1 3/4 punch circle, and I definitely wouldn't try to hand cut a circle because I know I would not get it straight. But let's, oh yep, that one worked okay. Yep, and my circle doesn't want to come out. That's all right, I'll grapple with that later. Okay, and I do like to usually cut these up so that I'm just working with one shape. But in this case, I am going to just leave it for now. Yeah, I'm just going to leave them together. Right, so then we can hand draw shapes. I'm just going to give myself a bit more room. This piece is a bit wider. Just now I'm paranoid that my camera is going to stop recording again, so I'm going to be checking. So let's do a heart. Now this is going to be trickier to cut out, of course, and I find great difficulty in making even hearts. It's not too bad. And of course, you know, making things deliberately wonky is one way around that. So what I'm going to do is take my craft knife and make it just a score, well not score, cuts in the middle to allow me to get my scissors in there. And just taking it a little piece at a time. Don't try and cut all the way around because it's not going to go well, I don't think. Just giving myself room to work. And so I'm just using my big scissors to start with. Actually, this is turning out quite well. I'm not going right out to the line, I'm just using it as a guide to cut basically the shape. And then I've just got a little bit down the bottom. So I'm going to leave it like that. So that's an idea for you, which I hadn't clicked onto, is not trying to go completely out to the side. So draw it a bit bigger than what you want and then just use that as a cutting guide, because I think that works really well. So there we go, we have a heart template. So literally you can do like whatever designs you like, whatever you have a need for. So a star is a good one to do. So I'm just drawing a deliberately wonky star shape. Oops, maybe not that tall. I used the classic way of drawing a star, if you know that, and then I'm deliberately sort of manipulating it to look a bit wonky because I want a wonky star. Right, now that probably looks a complete mess, and it is. But that's fine because I'm aiming for wonky here. Right. So I'm just cutting each of those outside lines. Wonky is really fun to do if you're not good at drawing. It's kind of in that fake it till you make it kind of vibe. But it's also a fun look. Like, not everything has to be realistic or perfect. It's like having a bit of, I'm just trying to work out which ones I've cut and which I haven't. I think I've just got 2 more to do. So 1, 2. Be very careful with craft knife if you're using a craft knife. We don't want any sliced off fingers or anything. And there's our funky cool star, which I think is really cool. And then if you don't like certain bits, you can go in and just, you know, take a little bit more off, alter the shape just a little bit. I was happy with how it was, but just to demonstrate, you know, you can take little extra slivers off to alter it how you like. So there, very, very quickly, we've got 5 different templates to use. I mean, super quick. You could do trees, you could do an apple or a banana or whatever you like. What other shapes would you like? A tree, just a rectangle in different sizes can be useful. You know, lots of different shapes you can make. Right, so I'm going to use these now. Just grabbing out my little art journal, and I haven't prepped the pages or anything, so I might end up covering up what I do today. That's okay, it's not a problem. Sorry for reaching, I just need to get a brush out of my holder. I should show you my holder actually. I made this when I was on a design team for a company that produces these wooden kits that you put together, and this is a little stationery holder boot. It's very dusty. Oops, didn't mean to show you all my dust, but yeah, if you can see that. And I had fun just dripping paint and stuff down it once I glued it all together. So that's my wee pen holder on my desk. Right, so I'm trying to think what I might like to use. I've done diamonds already a couple of days ago. So this one was a diamond template in 2 sizes that I made at the weekend. So there's that. So these templates, one way you can use them is you can trace around inside them. So you can take a pen or a pencil, depending whether you need to be able to rub it out, and draw around it and then colour it in or give it a border or something, depending what you want to do. So if I was to take, sorry, just reach behind me to get my Sharpie markers. Let's go black. No, I don't want it to show through on my previous spread. So maybe we'll do it over here because I haven't got a spread on the other side. So there's our diamond. We could take that and give it a black border. Or you could just draw straight with your black pen as well. And let's overlap them a bit so it looks like one's behind the other. Whoops, see, and it doesn't matter if you draw outside, like that doesn't matter, that's all fine. And we'll do another one down here. So this is one way that you can use them, is drawing around the inside. Okay, now if you wanted a slightly different size, then I don't know if that would work. Yeah, I think it would end up giving you a different size. You can take your insert and hold that down and draw around that as well. Or, like I said earlier, you can take those, paint them up and use them like chipboard on a project. So that's one way, is drawing directly inside or drawing around the inside in pencil and then going in and doing whatever. Say you don't want a black border but you want to do watercolours, draw a shape, lightly erase it so that your pencil doesn't show under your watercolour, and then go in with your watercolours. Now the other thing I like to use with these is paint. So work really well with paint. I'm just going to grab out a paint here that I might like to use. Hopefully I'm not moving the camera. One that you can see would be good. So maybe this one. Beautiful pink. Right, and I haven't got water to wash my brush off in, so I'm going to probably do this and then call it a video so I can wash my brush before the paint goes all yucky. So I'll do it on this side, and let's do a star. Let's do a pink star. Why? Because it sounds like fun. And just going in, holding your stencil down, or your template, whatever you want to call it. And painting around the inside. And this is, you know, my actual stencils, I take great care to clean them in between uses. Oops, I didn't hold it down tight enough. You do need to watch that because they're not thin like a regular stencil. But with these, it doesn't matter if they get all painty. It's like once they get too gunky, just throw them away and make a new one. So let's see if I can do a better job of this one. Also, not angling the brush so that it goes in under the stencil is a good tip for myself. So I'm trying to work away from the points, away from the edges into the middle to try and stop it going underneath. And I've got a bit of transfer. So you can always give it a little wipe down in between if you've got wet paint in underneath. But it honestly doesn't matter, and depending what else I do, I can cover that up with something else, with more paint. I can go and give these a black border to hide the little furry bits, shall we say, smudgy bits. It doesn't really bother me, and I'm not being particularly careful because I'm just trying to give you the ideas on the video and not make the video too long. So I'm quite liking this star. I think it's looking rather cute. Yep, so that one turned out really well. So a bit of practice as well is a good thing. So I'm going to go and do one over top of my diamonds here and see what that looks like. I might turn this into a star spread actually. So I might end up completely painting over my diamonds that I did. It's the beauty of art journaling is you know, if you're not happy, just layer it up. Stick something else over top. That's a beautiful way of working. Lots of freedom. There. I think that's fun. Now, I should stop right here, but I'm going to do one last one. Oops. And just want to do one over the page. It goes between both sides of the page, just to see how that goes. So you get to watch me do that. And I've transferred a little bit of paint underneath from the wet paint on the reverse side of the stencil. I'm not worried. I think sometimes those types of things encourage you to do things that you might not otherwise take the time to do. I tend to not go far enough quite often in my art. So this will encourage me to, you know, do something to take those things. Right, there we go. Just put the lid on my paint so it doesn't dry. Remember to wash my brush in a minute. And there we go. There's some ideas for stencils. or templates or whatever you want to call them. We didn't do any patterns, but just do repeating shapes, maybe on, you know, a larger sheet of card like this or something, and just do lots of it. One last thing I did want to show you was just some freeform, what you can do with freeform. And my favorite freeform thing to do is kind of a wavy line. So I don't even bother to draw this. I just do it as I feel, and different widths and thicknesses, and varying the direction. You know, this is fun, and it's completely unique and individual. Every time you do it, it's going to be different. Oops, just haven't got quite through at the end there. There, and you just do multiples of those. I'll do one more just to kind of give you an idea. Just be wary of crossing over where you've already cut, because then they'll merge and you will end up with just a big hole with interesting shaped edges, but yeah, just a big hole. So try and avoid cutting over where you've already cut, and just repeating that, and for however many and in whatever arrangement you like, and you create a really cool stencil. And that's really fun using paint with as well. So there we have it. I hope that's given you some ideas on shapes and things that you could make, and using up some cardstock that might otherwise just be put in recycling or burnt or thrown in the rubbish. So thank you for joining me on Trashcraft Tuesday, and I'll see you back for the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.